Airbus A350 from Jupiter. Donc, je confirme.
Didier Ronseret, Tuan Do, and Robert Lignet. Let's take a look at what happened earlier today in Toulouse.
So after we take the flight control configures configuration, because during the whole time we would have had 2 packs.
The precise timings I will get from offset depending on the flight time. The axis of runway 21, which is the display line, a few seconds of wings level, and then a right turn away to show the boat.
Allez, on est prêt là, hein. On y est.
Premier vol du
So this test flight initiated at 10:50 this morning French time. This is the third test flight of the A350 XWB. In the first 2 test flights, the crew members found the aircraft handling characteristics to be just what they expected, what they experienced in fact in the flight simulator. As a result, Airbus's flight test staff has already opened out the flight envelope to high speeds and high altitudes, all of which has made it doable for the A350 XWB to make this appearance at Paris today. Today's flight is an actual test flight, as I mentioned, and the Airbus crew members on board are getting more data even as they wow the Bourget crowd here in just a few minutes. This third test flight is the third in a very long test regimen that's going to total around 2,500 flight hours among a fleet of 5 different development Airbus A350 XWB aircraft. The aircraft we'll see here in just a few minutes is, of course, the first of those aircraft. The rigorous flight testing that these aircraft will undergo will lead to the certification of the A350-900 variant by the airworthiness authorities prior to entry into service in the second half of next year. The first operator of the A350 will be Qatar Airways. And including orders announced here earlier this week at the Paris Air Show in the last few days, there so far have been 678 orders placed for the A350 XWB from 34 customers around the world. While, as is always the case at an air show, there's some background noise, we expect the fly past of the A350 today to be very, very quiet. In fact, in addition to the aircraft's graceful shape, people really have been noticing how quiet the aircraft is. One journalist last week even dubbing it the hush liner. More than 70% of the A350's airframe is made up of advanced materials, including composites and titanium, advanced aluminum alloys. The innovative carbon fiber fuselage really results in lower fuel burn and certainly easier maintenance. The aircraft also features the latest systems and engines, as well as a very advanced design for its wing. And the aircraft cruises at 85% of the speed of sound, Mach 0.85. In the twin-aisle category of long-range aircraft referred to as wide bodies, this aircraft is called the A350 XWB to highlight the fact that it has an extra wide body with a cabin cross-section that provides more comfort for passengers while giving operators more revenue potential and operational efficiency. The aircraft that we'll see today is powered by two specially developed Rolls-Royce Trent XWB engines, each developing around 84,000 pounds of thrust on takeoff. I mentioned that this is the third test flight. The first, of course, was last Friday, June 14th, and the second test flight was Wednesday of this week. There eventually will be three versions of the Airbus A350 XWB flying, with passenger seating capacities between 270 and 350 passengers in three class layouts. The A350 uses 25% less fuel, with a corresponding 25% reduction in CO2 emissions than other aircraft in its category. This flyby is part of a special flying demonstration that's being presented to French President François Hollande, who is a special guest here today at the Paris Air Show. The special flying display, in addition to the Airbus A350 XWB, will include Patrouille de France, the precision aerobatic demonstration team of the French Air Force, and a demonstration by the twin-engine delta-wing fighter, the Dassault Rafale. And wrapping up the show will be the well-known, well-loved Airbus flagship, the Airbus A380. There's really a sense of excitement and anticipation here at the Paris Air Show, with these thousands of people gathering to get the first glimpse, for most of them, of the Airbus A350 XWB. The first flight last week was quite an event in the south of France and witnessed world over by people tuning in on Airbus.com and on YouTube. The aircraft is expected to pass within the next very few minutes. After the A350 XWB passes by, be sure to stay with us, because we will be broadcasting the entirety of this special flight demonstration today, including the A350, Patrouille de France, the Dassault Rafale, and the Airbus A380. And at the end of that, we are going to be joined by a special guest who's going to talk to us more about the flight test program of the Airbus A350 XWB from a very personal perspective. With these thousands of people lining the runways and the buildings here at Bourget Airport, there really is a sense of excitement and anticipation in the air. It's been a great week for Airbus at the air show. The manufacturer has logged more than 460 orders for new aircraft here, worth nearly $70 billion at list prices. Not a bad performance for 1 week of work. The aircraft that will conclude the flying demonstration, the Airbus A380, is in fact one of the test aircraft that Airbus has in its fleet. Earlier in the week, visitors to the Paris Air Show were really treated to a beautiful flying demonstration by the first British Airways A380 that will be delivered next month to that airline. It will be their first. The A380 providing a really large and beautiful canvas for the great British Airways livery. If we are lucky, we are going to have an opportunity here to hear from the cockpit of the A350 XWB. Pilots Peter Chandler and Guy Magran will speak to us live. But as this is a live web broadcast, all of the technical aspects need to go correctly. This live broadcast will not be the only Airbus.com live broadcast. At about 5 minutes until 4 Paris time today, we will also have another Airbus.com and YouTube live broadcast from the 50th Paris Air Show. A flying demonstration of the Airbus A400M. We've had the pleasure of seeing that flying demonstration earlier this week, and it's very much worth tuning back in to Airbus.com to see it. We are told the A350 is about 3 minutes out. Fortunately, the weather is cooperating with us here today. It's been raining a lot in Paris during the Paris Air Show. Amazingly, though, the weather has cleared up in time for the flying displays every day. And in fact, it was raining earlier today, and once again, the airplane gods have smiled on us.
Guy Magrin, je vous parle depuis le poste de pilotage de l'Airbus A350 XWB. Toute l'équipe à bord, ingénieurs, pilotes, nous sommes 5 ingénieurs, 2 pilotes, vous saluent bien. Nous sommes tous très heureux d'être au rendez-vous aujourd'hui. L'avion démontre des qualités de vol exceptionnelles au 3e vol. Nous ferons un passage avec un virage à droite. Vous pourrez donc le voir sous différents angles. Et je vous souhaite une bonne journée aéronautique. Merci.
That was the voice of Captain Guy Magran.
350, it's Peter Chandler flying the airplane. We're just coming down to 1,000 feet lined up.
On le voit au loin sur notre pointe. On voit la silhouette du 350 qui en descend sur l'ILS de la piste 27. Vous présentant donc Guy Magrin qui est en place gauche, qui est toujours en bord sur ce vol, puis Peter Chandler qui est en place droite. Et donc avec eux, il y a bien sûr...
Here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the Airbus A350 XWB in its third test flight.
And from the 350, we're just coming over the north of the field now, starting the turn. There we are at 600 feet, just lining up, and I'm rolling out of the turn now. Pulling up and turning away.
You've just seen the Airbus A350 in flight, and we've had the pleasure also of hearing from the cockpit. Pilots Guy McGrath
Merci, bonne journée.
and Peter Chandler.
Salut Guy et toute l'équipe de la part du 380.
Merci, salut.
Très beau.
Athos, 30 secondes.
Athos.
The flyby certainly was very quiet, but the crowd wasn't. There was a lot of excitement and cheering and whooping among the thousands of spectators here at Le Bourget for the A350 XWB. It's not very often that you get to see one of the very first test flights of a brand new aircraft. What a privilege for these aviation fans. Next in the flying demonstration is another treat for us, the Patrouille de France, the precision aerobatic demonstration team of the French Air Force. Patrouille de France was founded in 1931. It is the world's oldest demonstration team and certainly one of the most skilled. We are in for a treat to see their performance today. After that flyby that the A350 XWB just did here at Le Bourget, it will be returning to Toulouse, the conclusion of its test flight. And here is Patrouille de France. absolutely beautiful and very impressive display by Patrouille de France, the precision aerobatic demonstration team of the French Air Force. Next, we are treated to demonstration by the twin-engine delta-wing fighter aircraft, the Rafale, designed and built by Dassault Aviation. As the Patrouille de France aircraft exit the runway and park, the Dassault Rafale begins its takeoff roll. An excellent flying demonstration by the Rafale. Next in the flying display is the in-service flagship of aviation today, the Airbus A380. The aircraft that we're going to see today is MSN number 4, or manufacturer serial number 4. It's a test aircraft in the Airbus fleet. Even though the Airbus A380 has been in service now for a little over 5 years, Airbus continues to have a test aircraft to continually improve the A380, as it does with all of its aircraft products, from A320 family all the way up to the all double-deck Airbus A380. The A380 features capacity of 525 passengers in a typical 3-class cabin layout. It offers a range of 8,500 nautical miles. Having been in service for about 5 years now, there have been more than 110,000 revenue flights. Some 40 million passengers around the world have flown on an Airbus A380. Let's enjoy the flying display now of the Airbus A380. A beautiful flight by the Airbus A380, piloted by Airbus test pilots Christophe Caille and Thierry Bourget. I'm Clay McConnell with Airbus, and we are fortunate to be joined by Airbus Head of Flight Operations, Fernando Alonso. Fernando, what do you do as Head of Airbus Flight Operations?
As Airbus Head of Flight Operations, I am responsible of the flight test and acceptance activities of all the Airbus airplanes. So we are the guys who do the flight testing of all new development airplanes. We're also the guys who deliver all the airplanes, who are in front line with our customers. And also very important, we are the guys who do all the ground tests on the ground before the airplane flies. So if the A350 is flying today like it's flying today, it's because a lot of our team has been doing tests on the ground, be it on the landing gear, be it on the cabin, be it on the Iron Birds. So it's a vast scope involving flight operations, but a lot of ground testing.
Super. So I understand you had the privilege as well as the responsibility to be on board the very first test flight of the Airbus A350 XWB last week.
Yeah, that was last week, last Friday. I was on board. I was part of the crew that flew that airplane for the first time. It was like all of those first flights, a magical moment, a very, very important moment in the life of a company. A lot of responsibility, a lot of pride also, and a lot of humbleness also, because at the end of the day, we're the lucky ones who were there flying the airplanes, but we recognize all the hard work of everybody who has designed and built the airplane. So a lot of humbleness and a lot of recognition for the guys who built it.
And of course, that's the beginning of a very long flight test program. Tell us about this test flight today, this third flight of the A350. What are the test crew trying to determine today? What are they working on? What data are they gathering?
I think it's very important to note that this is the third time the airplane flies. It's really nothing. 1 week ago, exactly at the time, this is 1 week ago since we landed for the first time. Since then, the airplane went through major maintenance just to make sure everything was in place after the first flight. We had a second flight last Wednesday, and we completely opened the flight envelope. So we flew at the maximum speed, at the minimum speed. We used the autopilot, and it was after that second flight that we said, okay, the airplane flies well. We explored its flight envelope, and we're happy to come to Le Bourget. We're all very keen to come to Le Bourget, but it was very clear that we would only come here if it was safe to come, and if we were comfortable with the airplane. And I think what you saw there shows that it's a perfect recognition of the fact that we're very, very comfortable with the airplane. We've progressed a lot over the last week. We've flown, this is the third flight. Before reaching here to Le Bourget, the airplane stayed about a couple of hours doing tests, engine performance tests. It dropped down here to do the show, and then it's going back, and it has about another 2 hours worth of flying. So we're starting a flight test campaign that will take us until the end of next year, last part of next year. 2,500 hours, 5 airplanes involved, a lot of testing, bringing the airplanes to its limits, structural, aerodynamic, environmental limits, trying to find everything that doesn't work, trying to think everything that can be improved, because everything that we can improve and everything we can find before our customers find it, that's the name of the game. So that's what we're here for, so that when we deliver the airplane next year to a customer, they will be happy with it, and we will be proud of it.
I think a lot of people watching think you probably have one of the best jobs in the world. So if there are young people out there who are thinking, I want to be Fernando Alonso one day, what should they do to prepare for that experience?
I think they're right. I probably have the best job in the world. So what do you have to do? I think you have to work hard. You have to a lot of dedication. I think a lot of passion. But again, let's be humble. A lot of luck also. You need to be in the right place at the right time, and of course, have prepared yourself for that. But I remain humble. I would remain with my feet on the ground. Definitely the best job in the world.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And if you would like to hear more from Fernando about the flight test process and about the first flight, be sure to check out Airbus.com. And also the third issue of the App Zine is available on your smartphone's app store. So check that out. Be sure also for more updates to follow Airbus on Twitter at Airbus, and also on Facebook. And on behalf of the entire Airbus.com team, we want to thank you for being with us this week. on all of our live broadcasts, as well as best of videos from the week here at the 50th Paris Air Show in Le Bourget. Thanks, and goodbye.
And that up thing is great.